Hey everyone, James here on the Crypto Swiss channel. So, is it game over? That's the burning question, right? Can the markets make a comeback? And more importantly, can we still strike gold, or should I say, crypto riches, with XRP? Let's take a step back for a moment. Alright, let's play out the worst case scenario. What if we're officially entering a bear market? Yup, the dreaded downturn. That means no instant XRP windfall, no moonbound Lambos, and for now, it's just you, your trusty sedan, and the family road trips that come with it. Sounds grim? Maybe, but hear me out. Even in the worst case scenario, markets eventually recover. It could take months. Tired of fake gurus who claim to be expert traders but never trade live? I trade live on the second largest crypto exchange, where everything is transparent and results can't be faked. For over 440 days, I've consistently closed every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $34,000 in profits with only 4% drawdown. Verified results, not empty claims. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in my profile and start copying my trades for free today. Maybe even years. But here's the thing. Your XRP isn't going anywhere. Nobody's sneaking in the night to pry it from your hands. It's still yours, and patience will be your greatest ally. If this is the ride we're on, then buckle up. It's just a longer journey. That's why it doesn't make sense to panic on days like this. Look at the bigger picture. You still hold the same amount of XRP, the same stocks. And guess what? Markets are cyclical. The crypto pie is constantly growing. The stock market, same thing. As the world grows and more people start investing, the pie just keeps getting bigger. It's inevitable. This is why staying level-headed is so important. No emotional roller coasters, no panic selling, just a cool, calm understanding of how things work. The bigger picture is your friend. Stick to it, and one day, we'll all be looking back at moments like this, wondering why we ever doubted the ride. Agree? Let me know what you think in the comments. I get it. Everyone's asking the big question. Can XRP still make you rich? More specifically, can it happen in this market cycle? Well, let's break it down. Despite recent dips, seasoned chart analysts, like the ones following this latest move, dubbed Lambo Hot Jam, aren't panicking. In fact, they're staying bullish, confident that XRP still has the potential to surge upward and hit a blow-off top. This pullback? It's just a blip, not a game ender. So, is it possible to see XRP complete this cycle with strong gains? The answer is absolutely. Odds are high. Worst case, even if this cycle doesn't deliver, history tells us another expansion will come. Crypto isn't suddenly disappearing after 16 years of wild volatility. It's not all crashing to zero. That's just not a realistic take. I'm not a financial expert, far from it. This isn't financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves making YouTube videos as a fun hobby. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's dive in. As of right now, it's 4:50 p.m. Central Time, Monday, April 7th, 2025. XRP is sitting at $1.92. Not too shabby, especially considering it dipped to $1.63 earlier this morning. But check this out. A post from Raoul Pal, the former Goldman Sachs executive, founder of Global Macro Investor, and CEO of Real Vision. Oh, and he's also an XRP holder. Yesterday, before the drop, Raoul shared some insights on X, formerly Twitter, and let's just say he was ready for the chaos. His post read, the delicious smell of peak fear on Sunday, Monday, and max noise on X. This too shall pass. But here's the kicker. He's optimistic. He even said, I hope you're ready to dig for spare cash soon. In his eyes, these dips in a bull market are golden opportunities. Keep in mind, this is coming from someone who's been in the finance game for decades. Spare cash under the cushions, anyone? Raoul's showing zero fear, and maybe we shouldn't either. Here's the latest from on-chain analytics firm Sandman, fresh off the press this afternoon, around 12 or 4 p.m. Bitcoin currently sits at $78,600, while Ethereum has dipped to $1,540. After a weekend of sharp plummets in the crypto market, there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon as countries start easing tariff tensions. Taiwan just joined a growing group of Asian nations dropping US tariffs, and the European Union is now signaling intentions to establish mutual 0% tariffs. If these tariff changes materialize, we could see an instant surge in crypto market caps and stock prices, a bullish boom waiting to happen. Now, let's be honest. This situation could still take a nosedive and become a serious mess, but personally, I don't think that's the likeliest outcome. My take, Trump's tariff-heavy strategy looks more like a high-stakes negotiating play. He's coming in hot, maybe too hot for some, but it's undeniably bringing countries to the table. Just before I started recording, Japan was reportedly expressing interest in negotiating, adding to the growing list of nations stepping forward. This pattern suggests one thing: those intense draconian opening moves, likely just intimidation tactics to leverage better trade terms. The result? Global trade partners are showing up, ready to hash things out. My gut says we'll find some resolution here, hopefully sooner rather than later. If it happens quickly, that uncertainty clouding the markets will lift, and we could see a significant upswing. That's when the money rushes back in, and it's no surprise why so many savvy investors are seeing this as the perfect moment to dive into crypto, the stock market, and especially XRP. The whole situation is both chaotic and, frankly, hilarious. I touched on this in my last video, but it's worth revisiting because it's just too funny. This morning, crypto and the stock market got a nice little boost, but not for any solid reason. Nope, it was all sparked by a rumor. And where did it start? On X, formerly Twitter, of course. The rumor claimed the White House was planning to pause tariffs for 90 days. Here's how it unfolded. An account called DB, with 455,900 followers, shared a post about the supposed White House move. They even tagged it as fake news. But still, it caught fire. CNBC picked up the rumor, admitted they couldn't verify it, but slapped it on TV anyway, because hey, they can't let Twitter beat them, right? Then Reuters jumped in, citing CNBC as their credible source. And voila, a full-blown news cycle, all stemming from a tweet. It's wild, and honestly, hilarious, to see how this game of telephone played out. Whether there's any truth to it, who knows, but it gave me a good laugh. Meanwhile, let's not forget this gem from Scott Milker, aka the Wolf of Wall Street. JP Morgan exec Bob Michel hinted the Fed might cut interest rates before May's policy meeting. This is absolutely intriguing. I watched the video clip and came across an article by Crypto Basic that dives into this topic. Let me share the key takeaway with you because it's truly fascinating. Here's the deal. Whatever your stance on the Federal Reserve cutting rates, the market overwhelmingly sees it as a positive move. That much is clear. Generally, market players view rate cuts as a green light for growth. Now, this is the part that really stands out. A JP Morgan executive pointed out something staggering. The back-to-back market crashes we saw last Thursday and Friday have only happened 4 times in US history. Yes, 4. The first 3, the 1987 stock market crash, the 2008 global financial crisis, and the 2020 pandemic lockdown. Massive, right? Here's what's even more interesting. During each of those events, the US central bank slashed funding rates immediately, without hesitation. Based on this pattern, the executive anticipates the Federal Reserve will step in with a similar response following last week's sharp market drop. Essentially, he's saying, things are critical. No waiting around. We need action now. Time to cut rates. And here's the kicker. When rates are cut, the market tends to rally hard. Combine that with resolving ongoing tariff issues, and what do you get? Fuel for the fire. Bull season could roar to life, with alt season thriving in its wake. It's not the sole driver, but it's another crucial piece of the puzzle. Speaking of interest rates, let's look at what former President Donald J. Trump posted just days ago, on April 4th. His words? This would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He's always running late, but here's his chance to turn things around. And fast. Energy prices are dropping. Interest rates are falling. Inflation is cooling. Even eggs are down a jaw-dropping 69%, and jobs are soaring, all in just 2 months. A major win for America. So Jerome, how about cutting those interest rates and leaving politics out of it? Now let's be fair. Jerome Powell, as chair of the Federal Reserve, doesn't hold all the cards here. If memory serves me right, and feel free to fact-check this, it's actually a panel of 12 people who vote on such decisions. Google it if you want to be sure. But the point stands. It's not entirely his call. Still, I get it. The message is clear and straightforward, something anyone can grasp. But what's really interesting is that this could actually happen. Look at this breaking news. Hot off the press from Bitcoin.com. US Federal Reserve announces closed board meeting. Intriguing, right? Out of nowhere, the Fed quietly posts on its website that it's holding a closed meeting today, Monday, April 7th, at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And the topic? Discount rates to be charged by the Fed banks. Coincidence? I think not. While the world feels like it's teetering on chaos, the Fed calls this emergency meeting. What are the odds it has nothing to do with interest rates? Sure, it could be about something else. But let's be real here. Naturally, the announcement has sparked all kinds of speculation, with experts predicting either an emergency rate cut or at least a hint of lower rates coming soon. Why? President Trump's aggressive global tariffs have created market turmoil, leading to what some are calling an unprecedented bloodbath. The pressure's mounting, and the Fed might just have to act. Speaking of pressure, JP Morgan's Bob Michel seems to agree. His tone during a recent interview was telling. After watching it again, it's clear. He believes the Fed is cornered. In his view, they'll have no choice but to lower rates in response to Trump's moves. Simply put, there's no other viable path forward. It's an opinion, sure, but one worth noting. When things like this happen, it always feels like the world is ending, right? But let me ask you this. Is it really over? Can we still make life-changing gains from XRP? My answer is a resounding yes. The opportunity is still alive, and I truly believe that. Last night, my fellow XRP YouTuber, King Solomon, shared a post that really hit home. He said, "I remember in 2020 when crypto crashed, people thought it was all over. XRP was sitting at just 11 cents. In fact, on some exchanges, it even dipped to 10 cents. HBAR, a single penny. Just a penny. Now, fast forward to today. HBAR has climbed to around 14 cents, give or take. Sure, it's down from its recent high of 38 or 39 cents, but think about it. From a penny to where it is now, that's a 14 times return. Incredible, right? Let's go back 5 years. Bitcoin, the king of crypto, was sitting at a mere $4,500. People were convinced it was the end of the world. But I'm telling you, a decade from now, folks are going to look back at this moment, drooling over the what if scenarios. They'll wish they had just taken the leap, tossed some money into this space, and secured their future. Because this asset class, it's only going to get bigger. Look at Ethereum. In 2020, it was $90. At its peak, it soared to nearly $5,000. And right now, it's hovering around $1,572. Sure, it's down, but let's be real. It's not staying there forever. When things go south, it always feels like the end of the world, doesn't it? But as King Solomon reminded us, it's not over yet. In moments of chaos, you've got a choice. Stay calm, make a plan, and stick to it. Speaking of plans, let's talk about chart analyst Bob Ye. This guy nailed it. He predicted XRP would break to the upside and dominate this market cycle. And guess what? He's still bullish. In fact, Bob's words this morning were crystal clear. XRP is going much higher and nothing can stop it. Bold? Absolutely. But when you consider that XRP didn't consolidate in a triangle for over 7 years just to stall at $3 and change, you start to see his point. A correction after a massive 7x move is healthy. It's the pause that refreshes before higher highs. The smart ones who stacked XRP at bargain prices during the bear market aren't sweating these dips. But for those who missed the run below 50 cents, now's the time to pay attention. These current levels might be your last chance for prime entries before XRP explodes into expansion and leaves this macro structure in the dust. We've already seen XRP hit a new all-time high back in January. That's step 1. Step 2, expansion. That's the phase where many, including myself, plan to cash out big. I'm holding out for the kind of price surge that makes selling irresistible, the life-changing profits kind of surge. And I believe it's coming this cycle. Here's the reality. The bears doubting XRP now will likely be buying in at double digits later. So, take a deep breath, stack if you can, sit tight if you can. Patience and conviction will pay off. This year, the rewards are there for those who stay the course. Tune out the noise, ignore the naysayers, and focus on the long game by sticking to higher time frames. Remember how loud the critics were when XRP was under $0.3. That same crowd will be just as vocal when XRP hits $10 and beyond. Stay the course because they'll show up again. It's like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. They won't disappear entirely, but once XRP hits double digits, their negativity will look laughable, and they'll finally have to eat their words. I get it though. The skeptics never really go away, but the bigger picture is clear. XRP, sooner rather than later, is primed to climb. This cycle isn't over. The sky isn't falling, and the world isn't ending. Sure, we're living through a unique moment in history, but it's just a blip. Nothing more than a flash in the pan. Things will stabilize, and everything will work itself out. Take this post from Charting Guy, for example. While I won't read the whole thing, I'll highlight what matters. He's an analyst who predicted XRP would break out this cycle, and he nailed it. He expects strong altcoins like XRP to set higher highs and at least trigger a mini alt season, if not a full-on breakout. Even with the chaos around us, his optimism hasn't wavered. XRP is poised to perform and enter price discovery mode. Nothing's changed. Let's not fall for the fear. 5 years ago, during the height of the COVID panic, it felt like the world was ending. It wasn't. Fast forward to today, and here we are. Keep the big picture in perspective, people. Back in March 2020, XRP plummeted to just 10 cents. Fast forward a little over a year to April 2021, and boom, XRP skyrocketed to $2. That's a jaw-dropping 20 times increase. And here's the kicker. This happened while XRP was under fire from the SEC, with the US government going after it. Wild, right? Even with a government crackdown, it soared. People thought it was the end of the bull run, the end of an era. But nope, the market had other plans. I remember the chatter clearly, everyone predicting doom. I even made YouTube videos pushing back on that narrative. It just didn't add up. And guess what? It wasn't the end of the world. That dip didn't last as long as people feared. Take a look at this. Chart analyst Credible Crypto chimed in after someone asked if XRP could fall below $1.80. This was just before the drop, and it did dip to $1.63 eventually. At 9:11 p.m., XRP hovered around $1.93, not far from what people expected. But the conversation was buzzing. Could it fall further? Credible Crypto thought so, saying, "Yeah, we'll probably see XRP below $1.80, regardless of Bitcoin's behavior at the time." There's an interesting discussion brewing here, but let's skip the deep dive for now. The takeaway? If Bitcoin and ETH manage to hold steady and avoid another drop, but XRP weakens and slides lower to the target range, it aligns perfectly with the XRP ETH weakness discussed in a previous video. In short, the plan hasn't changed for XRP, even if BTC and ETH stabilize here. And guess what? XRP did drop further and hit that zone we've been hearing about for weeks, a potential low of $1.60. It got close, landing at around $1.63. Was that the bottom? Hard to say. Predicting exact bottoms isn't my game, but it's fascinating that one particular analyst nailed this part of the movement. He's the only one I follow regularly who called it this accurately. But wait, there's more. Someone messaged him, saying they agreed with ETH's potential to outperform, but doubted XRP would bleed much below the strong support around $1.80, assuming ETH and BTC have bottomed. The analyst, Credible Crypto, responded with a chart, explaining he's not expecting a full breakdown below $1.80. Instead, he anticipates a slight dip beneath it, a false breakdown, or fake out, before the next leg up. And as of last night, that's exactly what happened. According to him, this deviation is normal, and not a sign of weakness, just another step before a move upward. Honestly, I think he's one of the sharpest analysts out there. With 466,700 followers on X, his massive and well-deserved following proves it, and he's confident that this trend will continue. He shared this post, diving into the big picture, and honestly, there's so much to unpack here. It's not over, folks. Definitely not over, especially when it comes to crypto. Let me break it down for you. Here's what he said. I've said this countless times over the years, but I'm getting flooded with questions in the comments. So let me say it again. No, I don't believe that if the S&P 500 has peaked, it automatically means Bitcoin or crypto has peaked too. Here's why. Think about this. Crypto is a global game. Global equities hit $130 trillion in 2023, probably even higher now, while crypto's market cap sits at just $2.5 trillion, with Bitcoin accounting for $1.5 trillion of that. That's less than 2% of global equities. Let that sink in. Less than 2%. We're playing in a tiny baby market here, people, and that's the magic. This is where life-changing wealth lives. Crypto is so small right now that it doesn't take much new money to create insane multiplier effects. Here's the kicker. The smaller a coin's market cap, the less money it takes to double, triple, or even quadruple the price. That's why XRP offers a way better ROI than Bitcoin, and will keep doing so unless XRP actually overtakes Bitcoin in market cap someday. So, Credible Crypto keeps making waves. Here's the thing. If we add other global investment assets into the mix, Bitcoin becomes an even smaller slice of the pie, even in a tough macro environment, or if markets like the S&P 500 and other traditional ones around the world have peaked. It would only take a tiny fraction of money exiting those markets to flow into Bitcoin and spark a significant rally. Basically, we're talking about a rotation effect here. Money moving from one asset class to another. And that's an interesting idea. If traditional markets are truly topped, does that mean no more growth for small caps or stocks overall? It feels like a strange setup, doesn't it? The idea that crypto might thrive after that seems unusual, though plausible, according to this perspective. What's noteworthy is there's already proof of sovereign wealth funds, big asset managers, and corporations buying into Bitcoin. So, it's not far-fetched to think more money could follow. especially if we see a multi-year shift away from traditional investments. Now, let's consider the bigger picture. Bitcoin's ultimate narrative thrives in a world of economic chaos, driven by overreaching government policies. That's what Bitcoin was essentially built for, right? But honestly, I'm not convinced. If you zoom out on the charts, crypto assets and stocks tend to move in sync when major macroeconomic factors are at play. Take tariffs or even COVID, for example. Both pushed markets in similar ways. Crypto still behaves like a risk-on asset, and there's little evidence of a divergence yet. Sure, I'm open to the idea that things could change down the road, but I'm skeptical this is the moment. Even he isn't outright saying that markets have peaked, so the jury's still out on whether Bitcoin's big rotation moment is here. So here's the thing. He's saying that, in the grand scheme of global investment vehicles, the crypto space is still tiny. What does that mean? It means Bitcoin doesn't need global equities to be thriving for it to keep climbing. In fact, it could very well hit that blow-off top we've all been waiting for. After that, sure, it might follow traditional markets into a bear phase, but for now, the potential is huge. Maybe there will be some kind of rotation. He seems confident that we'll see it, regardless of what happens. So the big question remains, is the party over? Or is there still a chance for life-changing wealth? Personally, I'm with the analysts who think the best is yet to come. No one can say for certain what's next. Not me, not anyone. But optimism feels more logical than bearishness at this point. And there are plenty of reasons to back that up. Case in point, I was watching a video earlier from Raoul Pal, a live stream actually. I haven't finished it yet, but it's packed with insights. He laid out a ton of data, diving deep into charts and metrics on a macro scale, and how they tie into Bitcoin and crypto markets. Long story short, his analysis points to some major moves ahead. Based on global liquidity and several other factors, they're convinced we're on the verge of a massive capital influx in the coming months. And when you look at historical trends, stretching across the entire lifespan of crypto, those charts have been shockingly consistent. If the past is any guide, this could be one of those rare moments where everything aligns. That's the case they've laid out, and honestly, it's pretty compelling. If things continue on this trajectory, and there's no reason to think they won't, then the coming months could get incredibly exciting in the best way possible. I can't wait to finish that video, and what draws me in is how insanely data-driven they are. That's what makes it so intriguing. They really dive deep though, so if you're into detailed analysis and curious about the big picture forces at play, you should check it out. Raoul Pal shared the link, and if you're on X, you can find him at @RaoulGMI. It's one of his top posts right now. There are just so many indicators pointing to this trend continuing, and after watching that video, my confidence has only grown stronger. It feels like the best is still ahead. Of course, we'll all find out together. Just a little reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible idea.